basic stuff.
My mom did say she had that many kids, so she didn't have to do housework.
How many kids?
There's 7 of us.
How many?
And we each had a different chore, so the house is basically clean.
And you guys didn't have to do too much either.
Yep.
It was just like one thing.
Every day, though.
No. I remember like we were young, me and my brother, and we would have to, one of us would cook lunch, and the other one would have to do dishes.
Or Anthony would cook lunch?
Yeah, and like in the summertime. And then
like
whatever we wanted.
For the family?
For the family.
How old were you?
Oh, it was before 8th grade for sure. It was probably like.
So what were you guys chefing up?
Probably like 4th or 5th grade maybe to whenever probably.
So you already had to cook a meal.
Yeah, so if you quit cutting me off.
Says the guy that cut me off every 10 seconds in the last video.
Oh, salty are we?
I didn't notice that you pointed it out.
I did. I felt terrible about that. So anyways, what I was saying is one of us would clean. I mean, one of us would cook, and then the other person would have to do the dishes. So like, however many dishes you used, the other person would have to just do the dishes. And then like at night, Mom would cook supper, and then we would have to do the dishes after that. And like I remember my Uncle Harold was living with us for a little bit, and he came late, and we were just getting done with the dishes, and like we convinced him to eat his supper off of a napkin because we didn't want to do any more dishes. And thinking back on it, it's been like one plate and one fork, like not even a big deal. But
so what would you rather do, cook or clean, like in that situation?
Mom was helping us and teaching us how to cook.
That's such a good way to teach you how to cook.
Well, right. I mean, you just have to learn.
The basics for sure.
And let's be honest, you can make almost anything with ground hamburger. Like you could just brown it, and you can make spaghetti, sloppy joes, lasagna, tacos, barbecues. I mean, the list goes on and on. Or you can make a cheeseburger. Or meatloaf, like it's not that hard. If you have if you just have ground hamburger, you can make about anything.
But you'd be surprised how many people don't know that basic.
That's what I'm saying. Like
when people say they can't cook, it like blows my mind. Like you can't brown some hamburger.
Like me being a single, man in my late 20s, people are like, you know how to cook? And I'm like, look at me. Like, of course I know how to cook. Like, who else is feeding me these last 20, 30 years, you know what I mean? So it's amazing to me when people don't know how to cook. Like even just the basic stuff, it's not that hard. But yeah, it was a good way to learn how to cook. So
I like that.
I mean, you get tired of making things the same way, so you just like add different things to it, or you start to experiment.
For sure, like you learn the generic way, and that's when you
you're
learn to add spices.
It could be anything. Like you just add spices. Like you just add a little bit of this or add a little bit of that, or don't put this in there. But yeah, it was definitely a good way. Good way to learn. How did
you and Anthony decide on, or your brother?
Well, just every other day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we kept it pretty simple. Yeah.
What would you guys like? Give an example of what you cooked.
Oh, it's so long ago I can't remember. It might be spaghetti or, like steak or. I mean, it was just whatever Mom or Dad wanted us to cook, I guess, that day. I can't remember if we actually got to pick so much or if it was like, this is what we're cooking today. And like, I'm not a baker, so as much as I talk smack about people not knowing how to cook, like baking has just never been my thing. Like I can make a boxed cake, but like I'm not trying to make no cinnamon rolls from scratch, Like I just don't feel like I just don't have the desire to learn any of that. I mean, I'm sure I could read a cookbook and do it, but like the whole process of it, like to me is like, it's not appealing to like knead the dough and sprinkle in the cinnamon and sugar and like I'm just not trying to do all that. So
it's just cool because you pour these things together and it makes this thing.
Yeah, I mean it is cool. Don't get me wrong, but Mom always baked. Like she was always a big baker. So but I never really. I mean, and we did a little bit of that, but like it wasn't like like it wasn't something that we were like taught how to do a lot of, you know. How did you learn how to cook?
I just taught myself. I
Just-
literally just taught myself. Like
humble are we?
No, well, like no.
There was
but,
7 of you, and you didn't have to feed the family, or
No, that was my
They
other,
just always
my
took care of
oldest.
you.
Yeah, I moved out, and I was like, well, shit, I gotta feed myself.
Yeah.
I can't afford McDonald's every day, so I mean, I probably could.
Facts. No, you probably
Yeah.
could, but you
No.
get tired of eating that stuff.
No, I'd go home, and then my mom would send me back with like she wouldn't cook me meals. She'd like, oh, here's 3 pounds of hamburger.
Right.
Cook yourself something with that instead of making meals for me to take back. She would just give me like meat. Pork chops. I don't know. She'd be like, here, take these back, you know.
Right. So would you say that you've learned so much just like being in the kitchen with me, learning how to chef and cook?
Whatever.
You guys should ask her how she makes her meatloaf.
Don't talk about it. I know how to make a meatloaf. I'm gonna
She
stop.
burnt my ramen noodles the other night.
I put water in it. I lost track and I lost. I got in a rabbit hole. TikTok and all the steam came out.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that makes me laugh so hard. Yeah.
That's the first time I've ever done that too. I've never burned ramen.
She always just eats them raw. She never cooks them. That's funny.